Hey there, this is Patrice Washington from patricewashington.com, where we chase purpose, not money. Welcome back to another episode of Redefining Wealth. I am so excited that you decided to join us for yet another week. So to my OG listeners and purpose chasers, hey y'all, thank you for coming back. And to the new listeners, I don't know if you stumbled upon this podcast in the podcast app or if someone that you love and you trust shared this podcast with you. But here's what you need to know about the Redefining Wealth community. See, we believe here that wealth is so much more than just money and material possessions. What we believe is that wealth is about well-being. And by well-being, I mean making sure that you are fulfilled in all the other areas of your life, not just in your work life, not just with money, because there's so much more to life than that. And everything ends up impacting those two things. And so definitely get familiar with the 6 pillars of wealth. Go back to some of our initial episodes and you will really get that foundation. I know people who join us every week, find us for the first time, binge the podcast and catch up within a week or two. You're incredible if you're able to do that. But at the minimum, go and get the foundation so that you really understand what I mean when I talk about the 6 pillars of wealth. Now, if you've been around for a while, if you're on the email list or you've been following me in social media, then you know that the doors of my 12-month holistic mastermind are open for just a bit longer. And I thought it would be really great to peel back the layers of why I created this community and how you can use this concept of mastery and momentum in your own life. So I'm even going to share with you some of the women in the current cycle of the mastermind, like what they've been saying about their journey that has only been for the last 6 months, but for some of them, it's already really transforming their lives. So many of you listen week after week and you hear me talk about the 6 pillars and you hear the guests talk about how really honing in on many of these concepts have changed their life. And I know that you have the best of intentions to follow through and implement in your own life. But what many of us don't have is the structure or support system to make it all happen. And so while you've heard me fling the name Mastery and Momentum around, you know, when I talk about the mastermind, I really don't know that I've stopped to break it down for you, like what it really means and how powerful it is to put into action. So I know for the 14 women in cycle 1, we just started in January. I know for them, they have made such tremendous progress. You know, I'm talking weight loss, raises and promotions, increased income as an entrepreneur. Several of them have launched products and courses and services that they didn't even know they had in them because they didn't have the clarity to bring it out. Many of the women have mended relationships with friends or family. They've created deeper connections with spouses and children. Others have increased in their confidence, being bold and having conversations that just were not an option for them 6 months ago. Their leadership skills have increased, and several of them have begun to feel so fulfilled in these areas that they're now saving more money than they ever have, or they're paying off debt. And I mean, the list goes on and on. And so this is all just in the last 5 to 6 months. They've been creating these epic results in minimal time because of our radical approach to goal setting and accountability. And so I want to define for you again, so that you can apply this to your own life, what mastery and momentum means. So let's start with mastery. So, you know, I'm big on definitions, and the definition of mastery is the comprehensive knowledge or skill in a subject or accomplishment, the comprehensive knowledge or skill in a subject or accomplishment. But let's dig a little deeper and look at some synonyms. Understanding, comprehension, familiarity, a grasp, a grip, ability, capability, and proficiency. Now, note, none of those things said perfection. Mastery is not about being perfect. It's not perfection, it's proficiency. And the truth is, many of us never build enough time into our lives to become more proficient in the areas that challenge us. We don't take the time to become more proficient in the stuff that scares us or the things that are unknown. We like to stay comfortable, right? We're creatures of habit. We want to hide out. We play small, and we keep saying things like, well, that's just how I've always been. You know, you got to love me how I am. That's just what it is. That's just who I am. But truly, how much further along could you be if you just stopped allowing yourself to settle? And not just settle in ignorance. Like, you know that there are folks out there who know what it is you need to know. And instead of allowing yourself to be uncomfortable so you can go and become more proficient and strengthen those areas, you settle in the weakness. Like, it is not okay for you to allow yourself to spiral in cycles of confusion. Who does that serve? Right? Who does that help? It doesn't help you. It doesn't help your family. It doesn't help you create the legacy that you talk about wanting to leave any sooner. Sometimes I like to just sit and imagine the greatest version of myself. So let me give you this task. Take a moment right now and just imagine the greatest version of yourself. Where do you see yourself? 6 months from now, 12 months from now, 2, 3, 5, 7 years from now. I do this often, and I really do it because when I take the time to sit back and envision the greatest version of myself, I recognize, if I'm honest, that there are a lot of loose ends. There are a lot of holes. There are a lot of blanks that I cannot fill in. I can't. I know that I want big things. I know that I have big dreams, but I also understand that there's a gap between where I am today and how that's actually going to come to fruition. And what I've learned is it's not okay for me to sit and accept the gap and not do the work to fill it in. Recognizing that there are holes or that there, is space to fill in here, it doesn't give you license to do nothing. Like, we have to do the work. This whole mastery and momentum concept came out of an episode that I did towards the end of 2018, and it was Give God Something to Bless. And giving God something to bless means you got to do the work. You have to put yourself around people who are stronger than you in areas where you are weak. You have to invest in learning so that you can have the tools to become more proficient, right? It's not that you have to be perfect, but you can't allow yourself and you can't pacify yourself into thinking ignorance is bliss, because it is not. At the minimum, you can work your way up to at least being capable. So when we talk about mastery in my mastermind community, we're using my 6 pillars of wealth as the framework to just get honest about where you are, what areas you need to work on most, and who you need to become on the road to hitting those goals. Yes, but not just hitting them. We're doing this so we can maintain it, right? Like, you're not doing it. That's what happens with so many people. They hit goals and then it's like, okay, I wanted to lose 20 pounds. I did it. 6 months later, now I've gained back 30. That's not the goal. So the framework allows you to master this so you become proficient. So it becomes a way of life. So this becomes a part of your DNA. So in a community, you're partnered with women who are crushing it in that area. Do you understand why? Because it's so important to see real women just like you who are doing what you're saying you don't know how to do every single day. There's a disconnect when you're looking at some celebrity or someone who's a social media influencer, quote unquote. Like, there's a difference between that and then being hand in hand with someone who's a real woman, a real mom, a real wife, a real executive, a real leader, who's just maybe a few steps ahead of you, but they're willing to show you exactly how they do it. Just so you know that it's possible for you to do it too. So why continue to stay in ignorance or ambiguity when there's a woman who you could be in community with who's willing to show you, and she's willing to do it because she needs your strength as well. So as you guys know, I recently earned my certification in financial psychology. Woo woo. And if you follow me for any length of time, though, you know that I've been saying for years and years that lack of fulfillment is likely going to be your biggest cost for financial mismanagement. Lack of fulfillment is going to be the number one reason that you continue to mismanage finances. And when we don't take time to master our weaknesses, we keep masking our voids with stuff that does not matter. And so we waste money, we waste time, we waste energy, And at the end of the day, can you afford to do those three? At the end of the day, can you afford to keep wasting money, time, and energy? Like, I meet people all the time who do not want to invest in whatever it'll take to help them grow in the 6 pillars. They don't want the trainer. They don't want a nutritionist. They don't want an organizer. They don't want a business coach. They don't want this. They don't want that. And here's the truth. All I can think to myself in those moments is, that's fine, but you will pay for it in other areas. And most of the time, you will not be paying for it voluntarily. So you don't have to invest in the trainer, for you to stick to the nutritionist or any of that stuff, but you're going to pay for it in prescriptions you can't pronounce later. Okay, you don't think you have to invest in a business coach to help you get to where you say you want to go sooner, quicker, faster. That's fine, but you're going to pay for it and miss opportunities and keeping yourself like going in the same circle of confusion where you're saying on social media that you have a business, but everyone, including your friends, your family, and you know that what you have is a glorified hobby. Like, one way or another, you're making an investment. I really believe in doing it voluntarily, though, not involuntarily. You get to choose. And so understanding that mastery piece allows you to choose what's the next best thing that you need in this season, but having an awareness of what you need in all areas of your life, because you can never get so consumed with one that you allow the other 5 to just fall. And the next thing is the momentum. Momentum is the impetus and driving force gained by the development of a process or course of events. The driving force. In other words, as you get laser focused on the stuff that most people neglect, as they seek to build wealth, it will create a chain reaction of what I consider to be magical personal and professional milestones that you can obtain sooner, quicker, and faster than you've ever witnessed. And the beautiful thing about what we create in our community is that you can do that with a sense of peace and ease and grace that you've never experienced. So many people experience periodic wins. I win here and there. It's an occasional thing, but momentum feels like a landslide of winning. Sometimes people will tell me, oh my gosh, you're always posting all this stuff. It's back to back to back. Do you think that happens by accident? That doesn't happen by accident. But it also doesn't happen because I'm consumed with just work, right? Some of you may experience what you consider to be a win every 3 or 5 or 7 years. You accomplish one thing and then you sit out on the sidelines again, just waiting for the next opportunity for you to get in the game. But what consistent dedication to mastery does is allow you to feel like you're on a constant winning streak. Like, one of the things that I really want to start doing, I think probably publicly at this point, I may do a podcast episode about it in December, is like recap the things that have been accomplished in 12 months. I say this all the time. It is possible for you to get more done in 90 days than most people will get done in 12 months or 2 years or 3 years. But if you don't have the commitment to the mastery piece, then it's really hard to build the momentum and keep yourself on the streak. So recently we had our spring retreat for the Mastering Momentum Mastermind. And we asked Leslie, who's a massage therapist who definitely has the golden touch. She is our ultimate group cheerleader and hype woman from Detroit. And we asked her to share one win she's had since being in the mastermind. Now, here's what she said.
The areas of my life that I've seen elevate, I don't want to be too broad and say every area, but honestly, being in this community, it feels like everything that I've been shooting for is elevating. My career, it seems so much more fulfilled. My fitness, I'm proud to say I've lost 16 pounds since being with this community. Just the accountability that we hold each other on, it's just been awesome. My people pillar, I've straightened out a couple relationships within my life that's been, gnawing at me. And just my daily routines, I'm able to hold those even better. Everything in life is just getting better.
Many of the women have created exponential momentum by just embracing new ideas of what self-care means. Because when you're in community and you get exposed to how other people incorporate these rituals, these habits, these routines in their own life, it opens something up for you, right? So listen to what Maritza, who's a busy professional phenom out of NYC, said.
I've learned that self-care goes way beyond that. Self-care is about protecting your space, creating boundaries. It's about making sure that you're fit mentally and that you're taking care of your mental health and you're taking care of yourself physically and you're carving out time of your day to make sure that I'm doing what's important to me, that the self-care that's important to Maritza. So Master and Momentum has completely transformed my life. I wake up about 2 hours earlier now than what I was waking up before. And that's my time when I'm working out, I'm praying more, I'm journaling, and it's just been absolutely phenomenal and transforming. And like I said, had it not been for Master and Momentum, I would have still been living with this limited definition of what self-care means. And now I have a new lease on life and a new outlook of what it means to really adopt self-care and take care of myself as a busy career woman.
I just love that. I love her new way of embracing self-care. And some of the women like wife, mother, and entrepreneur, Herdine Mercier out of Florida, came in committed to elevate one pillar, and then several other things happened. But look at what she focused on.
The main pillar that I chose to focus on and starting off Mastering Momentum is the faith pillar. I was struggling in the faith pillar because there was seed of doubt planted, questioning whether God hears my prayers, whether the dreams that he has deposited in me, will they really manifest themselves? So I really spent the first quarter really just honing in on the faith pillar and reconnecting with him and all his greatness and being to understand he is my creator. My dreams are valid and they are coming true.
Now, what Herdine didn't even say is she actually also, while staying committed and focused on her faith pillar, it actually opened up so much clarity, and she launched 2 new lanes of business because a bonus to being in the Mastering Momentum Mastermind currently is gaining complete 12-month access to my signature program, Purpose to Platform. And this is a program that allows you to get clarity about how to turn your God-inspired ideas into income, but how to do it with authenticity and in integrity. And Herdine launched the Lcsw Success Program. And so essentially, she's helping people pass the exam to become a licensed clinical social worker. Like, that was not even something that was a thought before she walked in. She was focused on the faith pillar. And because she was, so many other things opened up for her. Right. And now she has that program launched. She's raised her prices as a speaker. Like, she's gotten more exposure on podcasts and live events. And now she's walking in purpose and spreading her own unique message. But that's momentum. It didn't have to be one or the other. Now, I know these all sound like really accomplished women, but no matter who you are and what you've achieved, big goals will always equate to big challenges. No one is exempt. You heard the episode, Greatness Requires You to Expect Resistance, right? And making the decision to chase purpose, not money, is noble. And I love you for being here. I love you for getting behind me and trying to spread this message and literally change a generation. But it's really just the genesis of a long and a rugged path to the success you desire. Trust me, I wish it was easy. It's not. And this is a path that I tried to travel alone at so many points on my journey, only to learn and then eventually accept that big challenges just do not, they don't go away, but really you don't overcome them in isolation. Big challenges are not overcome in isolation. A part of seeking wisdom is knowing how to ask for help, and then how to actually embrace the support we need so that we can achieve the big goals and move on despite what obstacles come up. And when we asked the ladies what being in such a structured, supportive, no gossip allowed environment has felt like. Here's what April, who's an advocate for children and families in the education arena in NYC, and Carla, a mom and marketing expert down in North Carolina, had to say.
When I think about the bond that I've created with the women in my accountability pod, the first thing that comes to my mind is a sisterhood. These women have truly we've just created such a love from the start where we truly support each other, we push each other, and we just never allow each other to stay stuck in a bad moment. They have just challenged me with things that I've kind of thought about. I feel like whenever I talk to them, they just reassure me or bring out to life the things that I think I felt inside, but maybe I didn't believe to articulate. And yeah, they're just sisters.
The community and support in Mastery and Momentum has been nothing short of phenomenal. I have biological sisters, and before Mastery and Momentum, I did not know what sisterhood meant. Post Mastery and Momentum, in terms of sisterhood, I have sisters that support me. I have a true sense of community and women that want to cheerlead and encourage and pray with me. And so it's completely changed the way I look at women. It's completely changed the way I look at sisterhood. And it's completely changed the way I have looked and have felt a sense of community.
Sisterhood, a celebration circle, a safe space where I could take the cape off, take the mask off, celebrate my success, but also share my struggles and not feel judged. That's what I always craved on this journey. And that's what I set the tone for in this community. And that's what I created. It was what I always wanted. And I'm going to tell you, seeing these women just last month at our live spring retreat, it left me asking, they'll tell you several times, I'm like, are you guys sure you didn't know each other before this? Are you sure? Because watching them lean on each other over these last several months to get their burning questions answered, to bounce ideas off of, to, have those tough love conversations that only someone who wants to see you win can have. Watching them refuse to allow each other to settle has been one of my greatest professional joys. They literally had me bawling in a circle and crying at the dining room table because watching their growth and watching them bring to life redefining wealth, which is my baby, which is what I know God put in my belly, and seeing it activated in their actual lives has just been a blessing. And so the question that you have to ask yourself, if and when you're ready to create mastery and momentum, is who can I really lean on? Because the truth is, both you and the people you've surrounded yourself with have taken you as far as they could. But in order to go further, faster, it may be time to expand that circle. And I've been reading dozens of applications at this point. I think at last count, at the time of this recording, we had about 89 applications to be in the mastermind for 14 slots. And so I've been doing the group interest calls for the last few weeks. And something I struggle with, I'm going to be honest, I'm kind of astounded by, are the number of women who just aren't willing to leave their comfort zone to claim their breakthrough. Like, if it's not in their backyard, they don't want it. I've heard people say, well, how many of the retreats are on the West Coast? Because I live in, Washington. It's like, coming to Florida is too much for you? Coming Midwest is too much for you? Or I've heard people say, does everyone look like me? I'm looking for that. And there's nothing wrong with looking for that. But, if it's not in your backyard, or everyone doesn't look like you, or everyone doesn't talk like you, or everyone doesn't believe what you believe, then you just can't be bothered. How are you growing? Where is the growth in surrounding yourself with people who are in your neck of the woods, who think like you, act like you, vote like you, feel like you? Where is the growth in that? I think it's unfortunate. Because now what we do have in the first cycle is Natalie. Natalie is an international influencer who lives all the way in the UK. She's literally traveling across the world to experience this. And here's what she's had to say.
I'm from the UK, and the reason why I joined this community from the other side of the world is purely because it's Patrice Washington. I love everything about her. I've been following her for a few years now and just love her spirit, love the content that she provides, love the way that she is so passionate about sharing her message and about empowering and inspiring people from all over the world. And when I heard that she was doing a mastermind, it was an absolute no-brainer for me. And even though I live in the UK, there was no problem for me to fly over here, come to the retreat and do the calls online. It was just something that I really felt led to do. The women that I have met in the community are amazing. It's been so much fun, but it's just been amazing having such a supportive group of women from the US and who have really kind of like taken me on board as a sister of theirs. And I've just loved the support that we've given each other online and also at the retreat as well. So yeah, for me, it was an absolute no-brainer. No matter where I was in the world, I would definitely have joined this community and this mastermind. It has been really, really incredible.
I mean, there you have it. There are people who know what they want and they're willing to go wherever it takes to get it. And I just have to say this. I have to say it. This opportunity, again, is open to all women because I believe what I have is a women's ministry. And so when I say all women, that means all skin colors, wherever you are in the world. Because let me be clear and call something out right now. This is not a Black woman's mastermind. I am a Black woman. I'm proud to be a Black woman. And all I can be until the day I die is a Black woman. But I'm a woman. And I know that when you see me, you see beautiful brown skin, but that has nothing to do with how I relate to simply being a woman, to being a wife, to being a mother, an entrepreneur, a thought leader, a sister, a friend. I'm a woman and I lead women. And I lead women in safe, sacred, productive, positive spaces, period. This is a women's mastermind. The reason you see photos filled of Black women is because they were bold enough to say yes to learning and growing alongside me. Now, women of every walk of life listen to this podcast from all over the world. And I know that because I read your comments, I get your DMs, I click on your pages, I see your pictures, I read the emails, and I get that so many of you come to me from different paths, from different ways. But one of the things that I hear most often are complaints about not having anywhere to go. But what puzzles me is when I make offers like this, women who are not Black somehow don't feel like it's for them. Why is it not for you? Why is it not for you? Like, no matter who you are and how conscious you believe yourself to be, there's something going on there. And I want to put it out there. And this is probably, again, I tend to blurt things out. But when I get passionate and something is on my heart, it is what it is. What is on my heart is making sure that you understand that I serve women. And anyone in my community will tell you that I go over and above and beyond to serve women, to serve them, to help them get to their highest heights with everything that I have in me. And I don't care what color you are, and I don't care where you live in the world. If you're committed to redefining wealth in your life, then I'm committed to helping you create mastery and momentum. So no matter who you are, right? And no matter how brilliant you are, once you've left a great conference, read another wonderful book, listened to another great podcast, completed the coaching, graduated from the program, if there's no one there to help you keep going, once you return to real life, you will slip back in to a familiar rhythm of having to choose between your self-care or success, between your business or your family, between your health or your wealth. And I do not believe in either or, I believe in and. And if you're like most women I know, your self-care, your soul, your choice to claim the support you desperately need slides further and further and further down the list until it's off the list. So here's the deal. Whether you join my community or not, this concept of mastery momentum is powerful enough to incorporate in your life today. And I say, by all means, do that to the best of your ability, and don't be afraid to get uncomfortable. Don't be afraid to be in communities that don't look like what you're used to. Don't be afraid to travel to get there. Don't be afraid to make the investment. Don't be afraid, because your legacy depends on it. If you're willing to admit that you cannot do this alone, that you've brought yourself as far as you could take yourself, if you understand that living this way doesn't happen by accident, it takes work, it takes commitment, it takes a proven system, it takes a village, then consider joining us. Consider joining us. Doors close soon, but you can apply at masterymomentum.com. And join the next group interest call where I can really break down everything that's included. But I want you to know I read every application, and I need to put eyeballs on every person, because this is a sacred space to me. And I don't say that lightly. These types of results don't get created by accident. So again, if you're an executive leader, an entrepreneur, a woman leader of any kind from anywhere in the world, and you know you've brought yourself as far as you can take yourself, then I invite you to head to masterymomentum.com, because the women you just heard from had only been in for about 5 months at the time of that recording. And I literally get goosebumps thinking about where they will be by the end of 2019. So if you start with us with 6 months left in the year, think of where you'll be by December 31st, 2019. Your life can be barely recognizable. Your life will be barely recognizable. We have about 3 spots left, and when they're filled, we will close the doors until December. But depending on when you're hearing this, if this is something that is firing you up and you know you need this in your life, I would still say head to masteryandmomentum.com, fill out the application, get on the wait list, because we'll be opening another 14 in December. But for those of you who know this is what you need now, why wait 6 months? Do you know what could change in 6 months? There's women who are in this community who are crushing it, getting raises, promotions, creating more income. Like, they're doing so many phenomenal things. Why would you put that off for 6 months if you don't have to, if you have a choice not to? I don't know. One of the things that have helped me do so much is just being decisive. I think decisiveness is a wealthy habit. Yep, definitely is. So again, no matter what, incorporate this idea of mastery and momentum in your own life. Now that you've been exposed to it, now that you're aware of it, just start to make whatever changes, implement what you can, and just be aware of what your plan is for the next 6 months. But if you want my accountability and the accountability of some really incredible women and our co-coach, Courage Molina, who you heard from just a couple weeks ago, come on over. If it's the right fit, we would love to have you. And yeah, I'd love to have you. So that's it for today. Until next time, I want you to go live your life's purpose, find fulfillment, and earn more without ever chasing money. Talk to you later.